guys, my name is Manvitha Indukuri. I am a recent graduate from Lipscomb University. I got my Bachelor's of Science degree from there, and right now I am in the process of applying to medical school, so we'll see how that goes. I thought this would be the great opportunity for me to kind of use this platform to give you guys a little bit of what it is to be a pre-med student, to kind of go through this process of applying, what to do in order to be a physician, or even just all the tips and tricks that I learned over the past 4 years. And if any point you have any questions, I do have my email ID up there, so just feel free to contact me. At that email ID, I do respond fairly quickly, so you should be hearing back from me if you choose to ask me any questions. So, like I said, the career option that I'm going to be talking about today is to be a physician. I will be making a few videos in the future, maybe after talking to my friends who are pharmacists, applying to nursing school, or some other friends that are applying to various healthcare graduate schools. But today I'm going to be talking about the process behind becoming a physician. So what I'm going to talk about first is the type of physicians out there. I know that a lot of people do know about MDs, but not a lot of people know about DOs, and I think that's a little confusion out there, so I wanted to take time and talk about that first. So, DO stands for Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, and the other kind of doctors are MD, which are kind of probably the regular doctors that you'll see if you go to a hospital for your doctor's visit. So the difference, there isn't really a big difference between MDs and DOs. I mean, they kind of make the same amount of money in the future. They both can do the same amount of hours. They get to choose the same specializations. There really isn't a big difference, but the only kind of difference I would say that there is that DOs kind of focus on a more holistic approach and preventative medicine and a holistic care of the patient, whereas MDs kind of focus on dealing with the problem in hand, kind of making sure the patient is doing fine. And I would just say DOs go a little extra mile in patient care, and they kind of have the time built into their schedules to focus on the overall well-being of the patient. That being said, MDs and DOs are both extremely reputable positions. They both require a lot of hard work, I could say. I do have MCAT, GPA, and roles listed up there, so I will go into a little bit more detail about those. So, and I think the MCAT discussion will kind of carry over into the MCAT discussion I have under administrative and application information. So what the MCAT is first of all, MCAT stands for Medical College Admissions Test. This is a test that pre-med students or anyone interested in the healthcare and towards becoming a physician will be taking in either their junior year or senior year of college, depending on whether or not you want to be taking a gap year, which I will get into a little bit. So you take that. It is out of a 528. There are 4 sections on it. You have the chemistry and physical sciences as the first section. Then you have your critical analysis, critical analysis and reasoning skills as your second section. You have your biological and biochemical foundations of life as your third section. And lastly, you have your psychology and sociology. I would say that this format that I just described is the new format of the MCAT. The MCAT did change after 2015. It is a 7.5-hour test, so you might want to be studying for it ahead of time and make sure you just take it once, because trust me, you do not want to go through the process of having to take it multiple times, and there's nothing wrong either if you want to take it multiple times, but that is the process behind it. Now, I think right now, due to COVID restrictions, they cut the test down to 5 hours and 30 minutes, but that is not the usual case. The usual test is 7 hours and 30 minutes. It is a multiple choice test. It is computer based, so that's that on the MCAT, and I will talk a little bit more about it regarding the resources and everything when I come under the administrative and application information. So MD schools and DO schools, how they differ in the MCAT score is that MD schools are slightly more competitive when it comes to MCAT scores. I would say that if you get anything above a 506 out of a 528, you have a pretty decent chance of attending medical school, or you're slightly above, you're in the average range of students who apply to MD schools. But anything above a 500 is extremely competitive for DO schools. It's just a really good opportunity to be doing DO as well. I'm really stressing on MD and DO because a lot of people think that DOs are less of doctors, and that is not the case. Trust me, I have friends that go to DO schools and they're really great people. They're getting the same education as what some of my friends at an MD school are. They're extremely qualified people. They go up through intense amount of training, so I'm really trying to stress on that point for you guys. As far as the GPA goes, I would say for MD schools, a good GPA would be anything above a 3.7. When a 3.7 cumulative and a 3.7 science GPA, and that's just like the borderline for MD schools. And for DOs, once again, I think the benchmark is a little lower, so anything from like a 3.6, 3.5, or a 3.6, anything above that is really competitive. Roles I already touched about a little bit, so I'm just going to go over them really quick one more time. They get to do the same things irrespective of if you're a DO or an MD. They, they're involved in patient care, they're involved in supporting patients, and just making sure that the patient is doing well physically, mentally, and that their overall quality of life is good. Moving on to the administrative application information. So the MCAT, I kind of touched on this. So students, if they're taking a gap year, you can take it whenever you're ready to take it. But if you want to go from into medical school straight out of college, then most students take it after they're in their junior year, once they took general chemistry, physics, general biology, organic chemistry, and a few psych and sociology classes, just because it better prepares you for the MCAT a little bit. I would say that a lot of students take it during the summer year, after they complete summer break, after they completed their junior year. How to study for the test. There are a lot of resources out there. There's Kaplan, there's Princeton, and you could even look into more third-party books or resources, but I would really suggest that you stick to the books that they offer and don't necessarily worry about taking their practice test. The AAMC, which is the institution that administers this test, has its own little practice test little section that you can buy online, and they are really representative of the actual test because these are the people that are making the test. So once again, the name of the organization is AAMC, and if you go to their website and just click on the MCAT tab on the top of their screen, it'll give you a lot of instructions on how to apply, what to do, how to study for the test, and everything. A lot of students do spend around 3 months studying for this test, completely just MCAT studying, because it is a big test. It is a 7.5 hour test, so it does require a lot of preparation. Like I said, the what part is, I think I should have answered that question first before the when, but anyway, the what is, this is the test that medical schools use to kind of see where applicants stand when compared to other applicants. Why you take it is because if anyone's interested into getting into medical school, be it DO or MD, they take this test. And I think a few MD, PhD programs, like people who are interested in researching while becoming a doctor, also take the test. The GPA, it's really important to have a good GPA. When I say that, I don't mean to say you have to be a straight A student, you have to have a 4.0 GPA. No, you can have, a few B's are fine. A few B's are okay. They're not going to kill your application as long as it's not D's and F's and, consecutively B's, and you're going to be fine, okay? So don't stress and, don't, kill yourself over one B that you got in one really, really hard class. It is fine. Just make sure that you learn, what you did wrong in that class and you move on. You can be any major to get into medical school. This was one thing that I did not know when I was enrolling in college. I wish I knew earlier because I would have chosen something completely different. You can be any major to get into medical school as long as you have the science prerequisites. Most medical schools, be it MD or DO, the science prerequisites include general chemistry, organic chemistry, math, biology with lab, biochem, and physics, and a few humanities courses that I think are kind of common to any major that you take. So as long as you have those science prerequisites, you are good to go. You can be any major that you want, and I feel like people that come from a major other than biology kind of have this advantage because they're kind of from a different pool of applicants. Imagine you're sitting in the AdCom admissions committee and you're seeing 1,000 applicants, all of them saying major biology, and then suddenly this applicant comes out saying, hey, I'm an English major, I am an art major, or I am a film major, and they're like, I have these prerequisites, here's my MCAT score, here's my GPA. It'll be like this diverse group of, it'll kind of pop up to the admissions committee, and it's kind of also diverse, which is what the admission committee is looking for. The extracurriculars are another part that are really, 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 really crucial to your application. Medical schools want an overall well-rounded individual. They just don't want someone who's being a robot and studying things. They want applicants who are well-rounded, who have hobbies, who have interests. They want to see that in you. So make sure you kind of take the time out to explore your interests. Pursue those interests too if you have time. It's really good. They're going to help you with cope with stress and everything in college and high school or whatever your next academic endeavor is. Other really, really important things that you have to have on your application include research, shadowing, volunteering, and leadership. So research, I would say I can put a little asterisk up there. If you're applying to a school that doesn't need research, then I would say, and if you're not interested in it, then I would say you could kind of push that one under the table a little bit. But most MD schools, and to the matter even a few DO schools, require research. So it can be anything of your interest. Just if you're interested in it, go talk to your professor and see if they have anything for you to do. Shadowing, I would recommend you shadow as many physicians as possible. Kind of just talk to your primary care physician. That's how I started mine out. Just talk to your primary care physician and see if they would like to have you guys just accompany them and go while they visit patients on a regular day. If not, you can ask them if they know any other physicians that would allow you to shadow them. That's just how you get your foot in the door and go from there. Volunteering, I think that's a little bit easier for you to get. Just reach out to various hospitals, various hospice cares, various community resource centers or anything like that, and get as much as volunteering as possible. Make sure it's broad, make sure it's not just healthcare, make sure there's some kind of community volunteering in there too. And then lastly, leadership would be any club presidency positions that you hold. Just kind of stand out with your application and kind of show the committee that you're well-rounded, you have interests, you're good at academics, you have the potential to be a leader, because essentially that's what physicians are. They're not just sitting there and helping patients all day long. They're kind of these advocates for change in the society, and that kind of leads me to my tips actually. Physicians, yes, they do make a lot of money, but trust me, not any that money that you get is really not worth waking up at 3 in the morning or 2 in the morning and running to the hospital, sacrificing time for your family and sacrificing a lot of other things. That money isn't really worth it unless you really have that passion, that dedication to get through medical school. I would say it's a lot of stress and competition, so make sure you kind of shadow as much as you can, volunteer as much as you can, and see if you're really, really, really interested in this profession, because it is long. It takes up to it's 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school, and then 3 to 7 years of residency based on what you're interested in. So it takes a lot of time, so make sure you look into this. So that was it for today's video. Once again, that's my information. Thank you for listening. listening to me talk. Bye, guys.